anything that I say will be misunderstood. Because what is not logical and physical cannot be put into language. If we want to use an analogy, gravity is one aspect of life. We are sticking to the planet right now because of gravity, otherwise we would be floating all over the place. We have a body today only because of gravity, otherwise we couldn't gather this body itself. So gravity is one aspect of life which, in a way, is related to the fundamental instinct of self-preservation in a human being. There are two basic forces within you which are constantly functioning, which seem to be in conflict with most people. It is not in conflict, but most people see it as in conflict. One is the instinct of self-preservation, which compels you to build walls around yourself to protect yourself. Another part of you is longing to constantly expand. One is trying to build walls, another is trying to expand. The walls of self-preservation that you build for today are the walls of self-imprisonment of tomorrow, isn't it so? Many limitations you establish in your life as a protection for yourself, tomorrow you feel they're imprisoning you and you want to break it and build a bigger prison for yourself. But day after tomorrow, the same big prison feels like a restriction and you want to break it and go to the next stage. So these two longings, one is to preserve yourself, another is to continuously expand. These two things are not opposing forces, these two things are related to two different aspects of who you are. Self-preservation needs to be limited to the physical body. It's only your body which needs to be preserved. Everything else can be mauled and demolished and rebuilt every day. Every day in the morning you can actually get up and build a whole new personality if you want. But right now, your instinct of self-preservation has extended itself to the very way you think, feel and understand life, isn't it? All the time you're trying to protect that. But self-preservation should be limited only to the physical body. Only the body needs preservation. Everything else can be reshaped and recreated as you wish, any moment of your life. So these two forces, because they are in conflict or they seem to be in conflict, there is a whole problem about all these things that we need systems and systems to speak spiritual processes. If one's instinct of self-preservation, one learns to keep it just within the body and not extend it to other aspects of life, every human being in the planet will be naturally spiritual, will naturally get to his ultimate nature. Only because he is restraining it, because his instinct of self-preservation always tells him, this is not safe, that is not safe. Only body has to be preserved. Everything else is open to everything else, isn't it? That's how it should be. But right now, the way you think, the way you feel, your values, your morals, your ideologies, your religion, all these things need to be preserved. Now, in this, there can be no expansion. Suddenly there seems to be a conflict.
You were talking about love and grace. Can you elaborate that a bit more?
So if we have to use an analogy, gravity and grace, let's put them as opposites. Gravity is trying to hold you down. Grace is something that is trying to lift you up. This is only an analogy, because grace cannot be explained that way. If you're released from the physical forces of existence, then grace bursts forth in your life. It is not that grace has to come, always in your calendars and pictures you saw grace is coming as a few rays of light and reaching a particular person. It is not so. As gravity is active, grace is constantly active. It is just that you have to make yourself available to it. With gravity you have no choice, anyway you are available to it. But with grace, you have to make yourself receptive and available to the forces of grace. So all the work, whatever kind of spiritual work you do, whether you do prayer or puja or asana, pranayam or whatever you do, ultimately you are just working towards making yourself available to the force of grace. Because without grace you won't be lifted up. Which way you approach it depends upon what you're exposed to, what kind of a person you are. But whatever you're doing, you're just making yourself fit enough to be available to grace.
How do you define inner beauty?
Inner beauty? If you have the right kind of eyes, everything is absolutely beautiful.
There's no relative thing in this.
Relative thing is a social factor, again, it's a training. It depends on what kind of data has gone into your mind. When you're unhappy, only certain things are beautiful, certain things are ugly. When you're very happy, you look at anything, everything looks absolutely beautiful. See, there are many ways to look at this. One simple way is, right now you may be identified with many things, starting from your physical body, to your mind, to your education, to your religion, to your society, to various things that you hold in your life. But when you simply sit here, if you simply sit with me right now, you're just a piece of life, isn't it? A certain amount of life energy, that's all you are, isn't it so? Identified with many, many things, but fundamentally you're just a certain amount of life energy. So this life energy which you call as myself at this moment, this life energy sometimes has been very joyful. Has it been? Has it been? Please say yes, otherwise it's tragedy. Sometimes it's been utterly miserable, sometimes very peaceful, sometimes turmoil, sometimes agony, sometimes ecstasy. This has happened to this, isn't it? So this life energy which you call as myself is capable of all these things. So if this life energy is capable of all these things, if you were given a choice, what kind of expression your life energy should find right now in this moment, what would you choose, agony or ecstasy? Definitely ecstasy. So if there was a conscious choice about how to keep your life energies right now, definitely you would have kept yourself absolutely joyful and ecstatic. Only because a large part of you is happening unconsciously, other things which you do not want are happening within you. What you do not want is happening in the world. You cannot stop it 100%. Only to some extent we manage these things. But within you, you are the only ingredient. In the world there are a million things. See, if we want to create a situation the way we want it, we need the cooperation of 100 people around us. All of them will never cooperate 100%. They will all play the game that way, isn't it? In any given situation. Even if you're just two people in the family, you cannot have the situation 100% the way you want it. Yes or no? This is the reality with the outside. But with the inside, you are the only reality. Nobody in the world happens your way. At least this one person must happen your way, isn't it? But right now even this person is not happening your way. That's why you're asking what is the way to joy. Your mind is not happening the way you want it, your body is not happening the way you want it, your emotion is not happening the way you want it, nor your life energies are happening the way you want it. We need to do something about it, isn't it? If all these four are happening the way you want them, you would definitely be joyful every moment of your life, isn't it? Irrespective of what's happening around you. So we need to explore the technology. Because it's a subjective technology. Because the ingredient is you, it's about you. Unless we